Michael Pegram, I'll start with you.
Coach, that jumped up from the get-go didn't seem to have it at all today. Was it all phases of the game?
Yeah, it really was. Give Texas credit. I think, Texas a little bit stunned our guys in the first 4 to 5 minutes of the game. Inability to reverse the ball, inability to connect on a screen, inability to do what we wanted to do. They imposed early on how physical and how tough they were going to play. And I thought that played a role. It knocked us on our heels. I think defensively they're all, very good in and around the basket. They have great length, and they did a really good job of to be honest with you, making things difficult. I'm not going to say every shot that we took was tough because obviously I think, right now we're missing some easy ones in and around the rim. Trace in particular is really going to have to, get something going for us a little bit when we're struggling. We need him to play, a little better than he played here, last couple of days. I think just in and around the basket, being able to convert a little better. But, to me, this is a game you're going to have to learn from, and this is why you play in these events with this type of competition, because it speeds you up in terms of learning what you can't have happen. But, for us, to give easy baskets, to give up second shots and to turn it over, it's the only thing we talk about. We did all three in the first half. So 9 turnovers, gave them at least 11 in transition, off ones that we can control. And, I think the rebounding margin was 7 at the half. And, you look at the rebound margin at the end of the game, and it may be skewed in the last 4 to 6 minutes, but we got beat up on the glass and couldn't run offense efficiently in transition, especially early when we were getting stops. Didn't get it done. They beat us in every one of those phases, and at the end of the day, we were dominated sort of in those little things. You combine the fact that our offense couldn't get anything going. To me, over the long course of the game, they wore us down.
Hey, Archie, this is Aaron Beard with the Associated Press. I'm curious, do you worry about confidence when you're trying to get started? You didn't have exhibitions. It was an altered offseason. Does this damage confidence, you think, when you're trying to get the formation of a team together, or do you just throw it away and you think these guys move on?
This is what you need to do. No, you need to see this. I mean, this is the evidence that you need. This is the real time evidence. You don't have scrimmages. You don't have exhibitions. You got 3 games in 3 days against a great field. This is going to teach you exactly what you need to do to be to be better as a player, as a coach, and as a team. And our team, I think in general right now learned a good lesson today. I think we, as well as we played, as hard as we played last night, they played harder today, more physical, and imposed more will on us today. Got to find a way to respond. And I also think this, early in the year, as the season always starts, you're trying to find that rotation and chemistry, and we're not there yet, but we have some guys that just aren't playing as well as they can. And I think once they, step up a little bit more, make some more plays, we'll be better. But today we didn't play well, didn't coach well. And it's not for lack of our players wanting to or preparing. I mean, it wasn't like we got real high after last night and didn't, work at it. We had a quick turnaround just like Texas. But I thought Texas's defense in particular, number one, really frustrated us. And I think number 2, over the course of the game, not being able to keep it in reaching distance, eventually broke us. But, we're better than we played today.
Hey, Archie, Alex Bozich with Inside the Hall. Any update on Al's status after he went down late in the second half? And also, just from an offensive perspective, I know you mentioned the turnovers and the poor shooting, but was there anything specific in terms of just kind of getting into the offense that didn't happen today that maybe happened yesterday? Well,
regarding Al, he's an ankle injury. I don't know the severity of it right now. We'll take good care of him in terms of making sure that, we get the proper information. But I would say he's doubtful playing tomorrow. Just knowing what I know now, I didn't see him until we got into the locker room. But, I would say that he's out for right now. Don't know how serious. But our offense in general got taken off its rails today. I think yesterday we had a good push. I think yesterday we had good execution. And I think Texas amped up their level today and took things away from us. And for the first time all year, we're having to learn on the fly. Like, we got to get this thing under control offensively. We got to execute better. We have to have better pace. We have to have better movement. And I just think the physicality and the toughness in screening actions and the screening on the ball and in the rim running and just the overall pop, we didn't have it today. And, I think Trace in general, as I'm watching him down here, he doesn't have the pop in his legs in and around the rim. He's logging a lot of minutes and, he's going to have to keep playing. But to me, we got to get Trace going, and that will help us, along the lines. He's a guy that, clearly is very important to what we're doing.
Yeah, Coach, you kind of touched on it there. I was going to ask what you thought Trace needed to do to get going. He hasn't been efficient offensively these last couple of games. Is it just being more aggressive when he gets the ball in the paint?
Yeah, I don't know. We got to watch it. I mean, he's missing some easy ones. I think he's trying to get fouled rather than just playing and scoring. He'll figure it out. He'll fix it. I mean, he's a good player. He's dealing with a different role, though. I mean, they're giving him some serious physical bodies right now. Last night, in and around the rim was very physical. Tonight, super physical around the basket. I mean, from a personal foul standpoint, Texas fouled 28 times in the game. And, he got 9 free throws. So he did something right. But the easy ones, I think, the ones that you got to be able to count on when you're struggling, those are the ones you got to be able to get. But we'll see. It's not for his intention or not wanting to. I think sometimes maybe he's a little pressing too much, and sometimes he's bothered that he does miss a shot here or there. But Trace has always been a guy when his head, his mind, and everything is set straight. He'll always come to play when it matters the most. And tomorrow's a big day for him and his leadership. But I just think important for Trace, if you look at his rebound numbers, if you look at his getting to the foul line numbers, if you look at how many times he's out running people or getting hustle rebounds, those are the things that make Trace special. And I just think right now he's not doing enough of those, and he's worrying a little bit more about missing shots. I mean, he's got to do the other part too.
Yeah, Archie, just looking back at the game, it felt like, Brock Cunningham was really everywhere for Texas State. He was on every loose ball. He's battling for boards. I mean, just how valuable is a guy like that for any team, especially for Texas today, but just to have that glue guy who just battles and hustles and doesn't really care about putting his body on the line.
Yeah, I mean, coming in on film, he was a big part. He was an X factor in the game. You can't let him make the hustle plays. He had 11 rebounds in 20 minutes, 3 offensive. Plays really, really hard defensively, and he's capable, offensively of spacing the floor for him. So he gives them a guy that I'm sure that Shaka would say they really depend on him. When you're dependable, that's a really, really great asset to have.
Archie, your the bench guys were just 1 of 11 shooting today. Didn't get much from there, especially on a day when you're struggling like that. How important is it to get some sort of spark from somebody off the bench?
Yeah, I mean, realistically, there's one player coming off the bench right now, which is Jerome, that's played in college. So, for us, our young guys are going to have to get into the rhythm here, sort of get going a little bit. We need Jerome to play better. Jerome's a much better player than he's played. He's had a hard time getting going down here, and that would really help us, with more minutes on the floor where he's played better. And we need that from him. Clearly, Joey's absence really shows in the lack of depth, in terms of being able to establish continued size and a rim presence when things aren't going well. But he's not available. So these other guys got to step up. Our young guys, they're just going to get better from these type of experience right here. We play in this event, got a lot of information on what you're going to need to do to be successful. And, I just think as we keep going here, it's going to be really, really imperative to develop our bench and to keep counting on them to give us minutes. You don't want to keep it as a 5-man group, 6-man group. You got to sprinkle those guys in. Last night, Jordan Geronimo gave us a spark, did a really good job. I think, Trey's obviously giving us some minutes. We need Jerome, we need Christian, we need Anthony, we need all those guys to keep making us deeper.